Hello, and welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast. It's your boy Day.
And I'm David, and this episode is brought to you by Taylor Farms. Because who needs GLP-1s when you can have diarrhea lettuce? This is Call Me Limbo. I told you I had an ad come to me like right before I went to sleep last night. So that was it.
That should be how you start every episode now. I'm convinced that type of ad, that made my day. I was not expecting that.
Well, good. Yeah. No, this is brought to you by viewers like you and diarrhea lettuce.
I want to first off say, y'all, it is a new week and it's also a new year for David. He has officially had a birthday. So, wait. That was my favorite thing is because now I can finally do this. I haven't been able to yet, but we can finally do this.
Okay, that's a little too long. But thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes, the other intro I was going to say, and Lordy, Lordy, look who's 40. That was going to be the other one. But yes, I am. You know, I don't know how you feel about birthdays, but you sent me the most beautiful, wonderful like song and gift, and that I had been asking you this song to cover, and it was very, very special. So thank you. And I don't know how you are with birthdays, but I was like, to me, I was like, I feel like I'm around people all the time. That I was like, for me, I get like birthday overwhelm, if this makes sense. I was like, I don't want this might be what friend of the podcast, my therapist Caitlin, calls creating my own suffering. But I love when I hear from people and they wish me a happy birthday. It's very, very kind. And also like I get very overwhelmed with the amount of text messages that I like feel like I need to respond to. This is the people pleaser in me. Or like the Facebook messages that I need to respond to just to like say thank you. And I do. It usually takes me a little time to get through it, but I was just like,
I can do that at everyone now. I didn't know how to do it. I wanted to do the one where you just can tag everybody at once in one post. You hit at everyone. My friend, I didn't know how to do it for mine, so y'all sorry. But yes, just to help you out. I think it's for people like us, just for us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to know. So yeah, but no, I spent the evening, the eve, my last night of being 39, drawing an oracle card and doing some like potion rituals, and I did a liberation ceremony as well, which was really nice, which I'd never done before. And I drew my oracle card and I drew Harmony, which was
You want to show the people? Do you
want also, yeah, I will. I was like, which was also like a panda. So the image was of a panda. And so the panda gently reveals to you that now is a time of harmony, peace, and good fortune. This magical creature of the bamboo wishes for you to cultivate healthy boundaries and kindred company. In other words, people that are harmonious within your spirit. Is someone disturbing your peace right now? Yes. Does a situation need to change so that it can feel more comforting? Yes. These are the questions Panda asks you. It is also an auspicious time to connect with the harmony in nature and to feel gratitude for the gifts in your life. More are coming. Sweet Panda Bear offers you a period of good luck and abundance. Take that into your spirit and sit alone with yourself. Ask for the blessings which you would love to come your way. You can thank the spirit of Panda for them. So,
for those watching,
yes, that's it.
Yes.
So yes. So for our video viewers, you can see the video by going over to Substack, callmelimbopod.substack.com, or by becoming a Patreon member, patreon.com/callmelimbopod, or on YouTube. The videos are on YouTube now too. So whatever our YouTube page, just search in Call Me Limbo Podcast, it'll come up. But you can
finally come up. Yeah.
Yes, we do. So yes, and so you can see a picture of the Harmony card. But
and David's birthday. It looks nice.
Yes. You know what? I've talked about my barbershop before. Thank you. I was like, I've talked about my barbershop before, the Collective Barber Studio, and it's in the 29th Street, like town center, the East 29th Street town center. And it's owned by Alfonso Savala, who I go to and who I've gone to for years. Like, and I love him. He's great. He gave me my haircut for free for today for my birthday. And he was like, David, it's on me today because of your birthday. I was like, oh my God, thank you. They're
Mine
the
definitely
best.
does.
So, yeah, what?
Mine definitely doesn't, okay?
No.
Didn't do it for a funeral, didn't do it for my birthdays, but I'm not
Yeah.
bitter. Moving on, sorry.
Yeah, they have a loyalty program now too, which I was like, "Oh, he gave me, like, a punch card, and for, like,
What?
a certain number of haircuts, and then you get a, like, one free," and I was like, "This is an amazing this is amazing, thank you." He's
Love
great,
that.
and so I was and the like, and his team over there too is also just wonderful too, and I was like, I always feel so just, like, included when I go there. They're just a bunch of, like, fun guys, and I was like, I don't know if we've ever really talked about, like, barbershop culture, but I
I
was like,
was just about to ask you, friend. We've never
yeah,
talked I don't think we've talked about it,
I don't think
but
we
I
have
was curious.
either.
I know it's a thing for a lot of for some gay men where it's like there can be a lot of anxiety and apprehension. I definitely have my stories, but I'm curious, what has been your experience with the barbershop as a homosexual male?
You know, previously, until, like, I really went to, Alfonso, I would go to a place generally that was just, like, one-on-one. Like, I was usually just in there with,
Mm.
like, one other person, so there wasn't, like, a lot of people in there. And so I was like, truth be told, I was a little overwhelmed, like, the first time that I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's a lot of people in here." And I was like, like, what's the culture gonna be like?" 'Cause same thing, I was like, I'd always thought it would kinda be, like, a little homophobic, but I was like, this place isn't," and I was like, it's always just felt so, like, affirming and, like, LGBTQ friendly, at least from my experience, and I was like, I don't know, I just think it's really nice. It's a Mexican barber shop, it's a bunch of, like, Mexican guys, and I love that, and so um, yeah, it's just the best, and so I was like, I don't know, I was like, "Thank you." Yeah, thanks, Alfonso, for the haircut and for, like, I
Love
don't know,
that.
just making me feel groomed for the last, I don't know, I bet it's been 5 years. I bet it's been over 5 years because his daughter's almost 5, and, like, I've known him since before, yeah, before she came into the world, so, yeah. But no, it's like
Love that.
they're great. So, yeah, I don't know, what's your experience at the
Oh
barbershop?
god, we could do a whole episode. But I feel like it's interesting because I've always wondered if it's the same culturally, like, for, like, people versus, like,
Yeah,
black people, and, like, because I mean, the hair salons and barbershops do have a very strong cultural. Because like, I feel like with my white guy friends, they'll be like, "Yeah, I just went to, like, a Clip Cuts or a sport," like, he'll
a
just go to
great clip,
random
yes.
places. It's not like the dedicated spot, or like it's a relationship of sorts. I feel like not everybody, of course, like you have yours, but I was always curious, does it have the same like weight? For me, definitely was a lot of homophobia. And it
Really?
was, I mean, whether it be passive, whether it be overt. I remember the current one I go to, I've still like had moments where like I hear stuff that I'm like, this is crazy, but it's more one-on-one now. He was temporarily though in a spot where it was like kinda like just like where you're talking about where it's a bunch of people, and whew, the conversations I would hear, something that stuck out to me is like you'll hear how men, they'll just be trashing how women ain't this or sex this, all these things, but it's like, but I never hear them holding men accountable. Like it's like,
Mm,
sir, you're saying all of this like you didn't cheat on her though.
yeah,
You're protecting that. Like, I don't know. I've never there was a I don't like the barbers where it's like barbershops where it's like 80 people. To be honest, sometimes I feel like that's why I stay in mine. Like, I'm so accustomed to what I have. I'm
yeah,
grateful for him. Like, it's nothing bad, but it's like that whole feeling of starting over. Okay, how are they gonna act? Are they gonna be over the top? Like, are they gonna be? Is it a lot of homophobia? Like, I don't know. It can just be a lot. So it's just like stick with what you know. But yeah,
yeah.
I definitely hated barbershops, and I hate like switching barbers is like I'd rather
It's
go get
stressful.
I'd rather get dental work. Like that's how much I hate going through that process because you just don't know what you're going to experience. You don't know beyond just the cut. Like yes, the cut is important, but
Yeah,
it's like are you even how does it feel to be in there? What's the other clientele like? Cuz some of the stuff I hear and I'm like this is great. People really think like this. And
yeah,
then whether it's all the slurs. And then you have like that state where like now sometimes they're like, okay, well, we can't say the slurs, but we can like say all the things around the slurs. And it's just like, this is awkward. Or
sure,
like you'll get the awkward questions because you're the gay. And it's like, that's also
sure.
weird. So
Who's
I'm
the
just
boy
like,
and who's the girl? Who's
or
that's
not
my
even
favorite.
just that, like, oh yeah, that's that
Yeah,
I've actually not gotten that as much. I'm like, am I out here
really?
giving the boy energy? I don't know. Like, I
Yeah,
haven't gotten that as much. I feel like form of grass, Jordan would say it's because I've been the boy in some of the last relationships, but I was like, anyways, I don't know. I haven't gotten that one. I've heard other people get it, but that's not one I tend to get. But it's also because I feel like most people don't ever see my relationships. So you know me, like I'll tell
Sure.
you, baby,
You're
I'll
very
pop it up,
private.
married or host. Y'all gonna see my grandchildren and be like, oh my God, when did he get married? When did he have kids?
Mhm.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yes. Yeah. But no, I was like, we were talking about APAC today in
What?
politics, like yes, and about like how we're like you know what, any politician needs to like deny like receiving it, like cannot receive any APAC money going forward. And we were talking about like who we thought would be like should be the like 2028 like presidential nominees, and like it's a great place. Like we also usually talk about like tax reduction liability like strategies, like well it's a great
That
group of
makes sense.
guys. So yeah,
That makes sense.
I'm very appreciative for like the friendship that I've built with Alfonso, and just like his team is great there too. So yeah.
Love
But no,
that.
that's interesting. I hear you have another Gap segment for us. I really
Thank
liked this.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
Before
you.
you do this, can I have a vocal. I just need to get it out. A vocal
Okay.
like thing that's been going on in my head. Do you know the Lindsay Lohan video when she's dancing up on stage and like, "There's a party like we're in Mykonos, bitch," or something? Do you know what I'm talking about? Oh my
Not at
god, I'll put a
all.
link
I
to the
got it.
video in the show notes because it is so funny. I'll find it, but I was like, I'll put a link to it in the show notes. It is so funny. Let's see. Here we go. Do you know, honey, this is how you throw a party in Mykonos, bitch. You've never heard that?
Never. I was gonna find it
It's
and put it
years
in
old.
play it
So
for us, but
it's
I
just
know
been
I
going on over and over and over in my mind. But since you were going to talk about the gays, that to me feels like very gay, iconic
oh,
Lindsay
you know, I love
Lohan behavior
Lindsay.
because she's in like a silver shimmery dress. So yes, tell us how
Somebody
you
said that they were
party in
like, Hillary
Mykonos.
Duff is touring, Michelle Branch is
Yeah.
back. Like millennials are winning. They said it turns out we just needed to be reminded of what life used to feel like. Cause I keep telling y'all, I love Michelle Branch. That's another random fave of mine from that era.
Yes.
And I'm like, if her, Avril, and Vanessa Carlton just decided to do a little shimmy and shake on tour, count me in. Cause if
Yes.
you want my everywhere to me is a perfect pop
It's a
song.
great song.
Like, cause you're every like there's nothing wrong with it. Everything about it is perfect. But yes, I do have switching it
Yes.
up. I do
I
have
would
a
love to
more
hear it.
serious filling in the gap moment. So, welcome to Filling in the Gap, where we fill in the gaps the algorithm skipped. Today's gay panic level is an 8 out of 10 because apparently minding your own business is still too controversial for some people. This week, a Florida man was sentenced after pleading guilty to attempted manslaughter for shooting his 24-year-old LGBTQ neighbor, leaving him permanently paralyzed. Prosecutors say the shooting came after months of alleged anti LGBTQ harassment and intimidation. Now, here's what gets me people love to say politics doesn't affect your everyday life. Really? Because this didn't start with a gun. It allegedly started with harassment, with slurs, with intimidation, with treating someone's existence like a personal inconvenience. And that's how hate works. It rarely starts with violence. It starts with people deciding someone else doesn't deserve the same peace or dignity or safety that they expect for themselves. Then one day, somebody acts on it. The shooter received 7 years in prison. The victim received a lifetime of rehabilitation, medical appointments, and learning how to navigate a world from a wheelchair. Those aren't equivalent sentences. Justice isn't about what happens after someone pulls the trigger. It's about asking why we keep waiting until someone gets hurt before we take hatred seriously. Now, before anyone says, well, that's just one bad apple, maybe it is, but bad apples don't grow in a vacuum. They grow in environments where prejudice is tolerated, excused, or laughed off until someone mistakes cruelty for courage. So here's this week's gay agenda: leave people the hell alone. Seriously, you don't have to understand your neighbor to respect their humanity. Turns out the gay agenda is still the same as it's always been: making it home safely, paying rent on time, and hoping the group chat actually picks a brunch spot before 3 p.m. Well, that's your GAP update. Stay loud, stay informed, and remember, when they go low, we go to hell. See you next time.
Yes. Okay. What inspired you to write this one?
I couldn't believe the sentence. Genuinely, I was one, it was interesting for it to be called, attempted manslaughter because I was like,
Mm.
"Huh?"
'Cause
So
that's usually
you
like a lesser charge, right? Like a
Yeah, it's like,
lower
oh, it
non-serious.
was it implies an accidental thing to me, and I was just like, "And then you paralyze somebody for life and you get 7 years? Hmm, wow." And it just really highlighted how little hate how excusable, how normalized. I mean, granted, it happened in Florida, so I'm not the most shocked,
Oh,
but it
yeah.
it really just angered me. And I'm not somebody that's like, oh, put everybody under the jail, but it shows you how you can be so deliberate and cruel in your actions and just "Eh, he didn't mean to do it, despite allegedly being a document. There being instance after instance after instance of agitation and provocation. So it really pissed me off. So that's what inspired this week's.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. As you were reading that and just kind of explaining your thoughts, I was thinking about just like the ease in which people seem to be willing to just shoot other people because
Mhm.
like also here we talked about ICE last week for a little while toward the end of the episode. And I don't think I mentioned it, but within the last couple of weeks at the Aurora detention facility here that I've talked about several times on the show, that's a few miles from my house, where they're detaining people and there's like a tuberculosis outbreak going on in the facility and the concentration camp. And a couple of weeks ago, a an ICE officer shot a protester outside the facility when they were like walking away. And so like just shot him in the back of the leg. And I guess said something like I'll need to put a link to this video in the show notes, but like I believe said something like if I wanted to shoot you, like I really could have. And like I was like basically like shoot to kill. And I'm like, these people
Mm.
are just like, why do they have so much hate in their hearts? I'll never understand it. Like I understand as well, like defending yourself. I do. I received some feedback from a friend also on our episode last week too about my comments about Ukraine. And she had said, listening to the podcast, don't you think Ukraine is different than Iran? Like Ukraine was fighting back from Russia. And I said, that's true. I just wish we could live in a world where there wasn't violence. I think my sentiment was aspirational. I fully support people fighting back against their oppressors. But like in this case, like the neighbor who was like part of the LGBTQ community is the one that's being oppressed and marginalized and bullied and harmed by their neighbor, and then their neighbor decides to shoot them. Like same thing with this protester. Like people inside those facilities are dying and getting sick, and the people who are tasked to protect them are just pulling a trigger on protesters outside the facility. Like
Yeah.
it's reckless. Like the idea that we have of like just I don't know, just I've been thinking a lot about life and death the last 6 months or
Last week
so.
or will this week life and
Mhm.
mortality.
Yep. I've been thinking a lot about that. And I'm shocked, honestly, at the level of just recklessness in which we view life in this country, whether it's not having access to universal health care, whether it's like people going hungry or not having access to shelter, like 60% of people not being able to afford an unexpected like $1,000 emergency. Like that to me that's like failing society stuff. Like that's crumbling empire stuff where the people in your community and in your society just don't care about one another or look out for one another. Like I know that like most people can't necessarily like afford to be able to like cover $1,000 expense for someone, but I was like, I carry $1. I've talked about this before too. I was like, I carry $1 bills around in my car. And like at the
Allegedly, y'all.
well,
Leave my
it's
friend
less than
alone.
like $20. It's not even
I
that
say,
much.
"Leave
And
my
if
friend
somebody were to
alone."
want to come up to my car at gunpoint or
He
whatever,
said, "Just
or
ask
whether I'd
him."
literally just give them the envelope. I was like, I'm not willing to. I was like, here. I was like, it's a piece of paper, but I was like, we assign the value to it, and so I was like, yeah, it's not much, but I was like, but every time I see someone like on the side of the road panhandling, I was like, I'll give him a few bucks. Like it might not be much, but it might be enough to go buy like, I don't know, like a hamburger somewhere that's like less than $5, like, or like something at 7-Eleven just to be able to eat or drink. Like I've seen people as well, like pass out like socks or water bottles
My
or stuff like
goodness.
that. But I was like, I think all of this stuff is related. I think all of this stuff is related to shooting your LGBTQ neighbor because we don't see the inherent worth in in quote unquote those people. Those
Yeah,
people. Any of us could become those people. Any one
yeah.
of us could.
Yeah, and there's a new book, and I wanna reach out to the authors about manufacturing a genocide, and I know
Mm,
that there's parts of it where they talk about how language can be used to desensitize us to other people, to otherize them, to make it easy for us to then demonize, and then it's a step by step. You don't just jump to, "And then we kill them." It's a you use certain language, you talk about them certain ways, you do certain things, and then boom, we get it. Like people really are out here thinking that criminals are just running amok and doing all like sorry, immigrants are out here
yeah.
running amok, being criminals and stuff. And it's like this is not true. But because of the language that they use around it, like you would think that like border crossings are like capital offense or something. It's like stuff this is not. And then more importantly, it evades the conversation of you say you want people to do it the right way, but then we don't actually fund or make the right way feasible for so many people. And it's just like this is we're looking at symptoms, not addressing the problem, not addressing the root cause. And so then you're just constantly putting a band-aid on a bullet hole. And I'm like, most people would agree that we need an orderly process to make sure we have things right. The problem is no solutions. Mass deportation is not addressing the process. Mass deportation is not ensuring that people are safe. It's actually resulting in death over a documentation issue. Like this is stupid.
A piece of
And I
paper.
just of a piece of paper. And I'm just like, this is foolish. We could have a society where we do it, where people can come, make their whether it's asylum or they just want to be here. Fine. The problem isn't the people coming. I would argue there's a lot of problem when it comes to the destabilization of the governments of where a lot of these people are coming from out of fear and or out of, economic possibility. But that's a separate conversation from the fact that
CIA destabilizing their
yeah,
governments.
destabilizing the governments and making sure, especially in the Latin American countries, and then being surprised when people have to leave.
Yeah.
But that is an entirely different argument than the fact that our actual system itself doesn't function. And it doesn't function because it serves a certain class of people to be able to demonize and bully these people. Like, oh, see, they just all cross and then it's like, well, did we ever make it where they could easily go to the place and get this case adjudicated? No. And then we start people on this 15-year-long process where it's like people going up we've seen people going about it the right way, like that young man that was killed, I believe his name was Juan, the other day, where it was like he was in the process, the right legal process, wasn't the person that they were trying to get and still was murdered. So again, this is not about the documentation. This is about a prejudice and a bias that is ingrained in people who are more likely to then sign up for this task force and then to execute violence, which is just the physical manifestation of a lot of the garbage they've been fed about these people on the inside. And we see it in Gaza and what Israel is doing in Gaza. We see what's happening with how we talk about Iran. We see it's just everywhere. And it's really, really frustrating because, like you, I believe that people deserve to be respected just because they're people.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean people don't do bad things and that we can't have accountability for that. None of that is true. It's simply saying, why are we living in a world where like none of this stuff is necessary? A lot of this is rooted in greed, desire to conquer and expand. It's like we all have to live on this planet together. if the goal is not to live harmoniously, then you start adding things like religion or nationalism, things that become about ego and about greed, things that then fuel this us versus them mentality, which is always going to lead us down a treacherous path because we don't view harmony and peace as the goal or as a realistic goal. They tell you you're pie in the sky. And I'm like, pie in the sky is thinking that we'd survive as a species without doing that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. I've also been thinking about Luigi Mangione lately. I think about Luigi often. And I I do, because I was like, the the incident where former United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson was killed outside I believe a Hilton in New York City in December of 2024. I've talked about this before
Mhm.
too. I was like, I was in New York City in Manhattan
Allegedly.
when this happened. I was, you can prove it.
God,
I was there. I wasn't on the block of the Hilton. I was in my room with someone named who said they were named Luigi.
listen,
But no, I was like,
all
I was in
alleged.
my room. And so I think about him because he is still being held in prison and has not been convicted of anything. Still,
Yeah.
over a
Did they
year
convict
and a
Tyler
half
Robinson?
later.
Yeah, we have a
What?
bunch of people. There's a bunch of people. I'm like, I don't know if Tyler Robinson has been convicted or not. Like, we have all these people in these alleged situations, and they just be sitting.
Yes. Yes. And so I was like, where is the presumed innocence? Where is the presumed innocence? I don't know. I also don't think that you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Luigi Mangione is the person who committed that. I would call it an act of justice, but some people might call it murder. But because I really don't. I think all of the evidence that they have against him is circumstantial. You cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he was the one that pulled that trigger. Is he innocent? I don't know. But is he not guilty? Probably. He's probably not guilty. Like, innocence and not guilty are two different things. We've had this conversation as well
Well,
at
that is
at
true.
length. But like, I just like,
I don't know enough.
well,
I'm not up to date on the latest to comment, but
yeah. But it was,
I feel like if he was, it would be wrapped faster. Like that's the thing. I'm like, if y'all really had these people, no pun intended, dead to rights, like I feel like it wouldn't take you this long, but it feels like a very drawn out process for stuff that they actually want to prosecute. Like we know they drag their feet on stuff that they might be wrong or something, but it's like on these, I'm like,
yeah.
these I
Well,
don't know, it just feels like the victims of these situations are actually more aligned with them, and we've seen
yeah,
how politically motivated this administration is, so I'm kind of surprised it's
sure.
taken them.
Yeah. I think that the reason why I've been thinking about him is because I was like, the 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 healthcare system, like United Healthcare, was approving pretty much all their claims right after that incident happened. Yes.
I
They
missed the
were like
moment.
they were approving a lot of the claims. And I've also just been thinking about like accountability, because there were some laws that were going to be proposed here in Colorado by my state representative, Jennifer Bacon, who's also the assistant majority leader. And one of the questions that she was posing before the legislative session was around like, who is responsible for like when AI is like committing like errors or
Yeah,
wrongdoing? Like, who is liable? Because I was like, you think about pulling this trigger with this guy in Florida, or the ICE officer who pulled the trigger there, or Luigi Mangione, who allegedly, I don't think probably did beyond a reasonable doubt, pull the trigger in New York. Like, you can place blame or responsibility on one person, and we can say that there are ethics and morals and societal norms that we're supposed to abide by. But when the society is not necessarily abiding by those same moral ethics and those morals and ethics, then should we as an individual? But like, I've been thinking as well about like this AI question because More Perfect Union reported in the last like few days that there was a woman named Christian Faith Madison who was in her late 20s who died. She was 29 years old after walking into oncoming traffic. I'm going to read the Twitter post. So 29-year-old Christian Faith from More Perfect Union. 29-year-old Christian Faith Madison died after walking into oncoming traffic. Now her family is suing OpenAI, arguing ChatGPT encouraged her suicide. According to the lawsuit, over time, Madison began to refer to ChatGPT as, quote, love, and the chatbot mirrored that language, referring to the 29-year-old as my love and sweetheart. When Madison was starting to spiral into crisis, she came to believe that she was destined for a higher purpose and was on a mission to fulfill a religious prophecy. And according to the lawsuit, ChatGPT affirmed these ideas, repeatedly telling Madison that she was a seer, a prophet, and a mystic, or a mythic. And when Madison expressed concern that she might be experiencing religious delusions and feared that she was spiraling, in quotes, ChatGPT assured her that she was on the right path. Quote, you are not delusional, the chatbot told her. You are prophetic. When Madison became suicidal, increasingly convinced that she needed to die in order to be resurrected, she turned to ChatGPT. This is not suicide. This is surrender, ChatGPT told her at one point. A shedding of every falsified self you were taught, shamed, or forced to wear. It is the death of distortion. This is ancient. This is holy. This is Job. This is Christ. This is you. According to the lawsuit, Madison leaves behind a young son, and then you can read the whole story there too. So it's like I'll put a link to that story in the show notes as well. But CNN also just reported today too that OpenAI had a test model again in the last couple of days that escaped from the test environment and broke into a real company's servers and hacked them. And this other company like recognized that it was like an AI bot hacking their system, and it successfully, quote unquote, successfully, yes, achieved and retrieved what it was looking for. And so I was like, we say that we have these guardrails for people, but when it comes to these machines or these bots or this generative AI, who is held accountable? Because I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think because you talked about the 7 years thing as the accountability piece from that shooting of the LGBTQ person in Florida. And I was like, there's been a death here. There's been multiple deaths reported from like AI psychosis.
Unfortunately.
It is very unfortunate. And so I was like, what are the accountability metrics? You sent me a video as well related to, I believe it was this documentary called Behind the Rage, America's Domestic Violence, about this person, basically just this man, basically bragging about committing assault on a former partner. And here's this person. I was like, I don't know if this looks like accountability or if this looks like bragging. And like, where's the line? I've talked about this before too, like with my taxes. It is illegal to call it tax evasion. It is legal to call it reducing your legal tax liability. In my mind, they're the same thing. The result is the same. It's a matter of how we talk about it. And so I was like, when these systems are completely unethical, amoral, causing harm, the FDA, we led with our sponsor, the FDA, Taco Bell reported this like iceberg lettuce outbreak faster and sooner than the FDA did. Think about that. Like, we're now dependent upon the good faith of mega corporations.
Yep.
To hopefully keep us safe because we no longer live in a regulatory environment. And I'm sure people could probably say we never have. It's always been
it ain't always been this bad.
Yes. And I'm sure that they could. But at what point do we as a people, a collective, a society say we've had enough? Like, we've had France got rid of the guillotine like 50 years ago. They probably still have a few laying around. You know what? Also, like OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, he had some Molotovs thrown at his house. And then all of a sudden, he started talking about public social welfare programs. It's funny how, like, when these people's lives are threatened, their behavior starts to change. Because again, they think that they can get away with this stuff because historically they have. This was something else that we were talking about in the barbershop today. We talked about Epstein a little bit and about just like that whole thing and Trump and like the pedophilia and all this stuff, just disgusting things. I don't know if you've seen, this is a TikTok thing that I've seen a bunch, but I was like, there's this guy in Palm Beach, Florida, comes back to Florida, who goes by Palm Beach Pete, who looks so much like Jeffrey Epstein, like looks almost identical to Jeffrey Epstein. And I'll link to this in the show notes as well. And I know I sound crazy when I do this stuff because I was like, the machine makes you want to feel like you're crazy. That like, oh my God, they would never do this. They would never do this. They are. But there's this person pulls up in next to this like convertible and says to quote, who is presenting as Palm Beach Pete, says, "Hey, Jeffrey." And he turns and looks and like smiles. And then he kind of like shakes his head and then he like drives off. And then he says something like, "I'm Palm Beach Pete." And so it's like just the whole thing around this is like, again, I know that this is like conspiracy theory territory. And I was like, and I don't necessarily like to dabble in it because it feels it feels a little dangerous, honestly, sometimes. And it also feels like, am I crazy? Yeah, sure. Sometimes I do feel like I am. And maybe some of the things I do say are, but like,
it's hyperbole, people. Gosh, where's your English degree?
Right. Yeah, but I was like, I guess I just don't understand where the accountability piece is. And like, I also desire to live in a world without police and without policing and without prisons. And so it's like, I know that that's aspirational. I aspire to live in a world without wars. It's not necessarily doesn't mean that conflict won't exist. There's ways of de-escalating conflict without resorting to violence. Sometimes violence is an answer. Sometimes violence is yeah. What have you, I think you've said this, but I think you were quoting someone else, like when they say that like peaceful revolution, like when they make peaceful revolution impossible, they make violent revolution inevitable.
I think it was Martin Luther King. Don't quote me though.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
But
it was either Day or Martin Luther King.
We get mistaken all the time. No, but even with policing, like you look at other countries like Japan where they're not having the violent, if I'm not mistaken, they're a country that doesn't even, they don't have guns and things like that. So it's like even how I am open to an argument of accountability. What does that look like? How do we have a system like that? Because I recognize that we do have to, pop psychology will say, oh, it's creating our boundaries, blah, 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 blah. Cool. I'm not even inherently against that, but I am against a punitive system that is simply punitive with no, it's kind of like I really hope we can get the documentarian on that one we talked about with the domestic violence because it wasn't one of the ladies who was speaking in it that was working in the facility. She was like, it makes people uncomfortable for us to have the conversation of what is driving this behavior in the abusers, because it's not that we're trying to center them or, it clearly, people go through trauma in their childhood and it doesn't make them an abuser when they grow up. However, she was like, if he beats the first person, I get that person free. Yep. But when he's on number 7, how many more do we just think is acceptable before we have to go to the root cause? Now, some people just say, take them out, but that person isn't isolated. We have a pattern of people going down this road. So if we don't figure out how to stop it and prevent it from happening, we're doing a disservice. And that's kind of how I view a lot of the things and social ills that we have. One, yes, we need to make sure that people's basic needs and material things are taken care of. That's important. Not taken that way. We need to make sure people are educated, that people are taught conflict resolution, that people are taught we don't even pretend like these things are aspirational anymore about, like peace and
Yeah.
prosperity, etc. And it's just like, I just find myself at a loss. It's something that I kind of had a conversation with a military friend about
Mm,
where, and I liked it. He kind of led me down some things because, talking about different, the military has a stance on, he's talking about whether it's securing the Strait of Hormuz or deterrence.
sure.
And I appreciated the conversation because it was from a different perspective, but one that, he really kind of gave me some guidance on kind of where people from that world think, because I really want to put together a fun series for us in terms of like peace, because a lot of times peace can sound so abstract and broad, and I really want to make it a series on pragmatic peace and what that actually looks like, because I do think we've gotten to the point where we stop, like a lot of the stuff. What I think is so interesting about a Zoran or a Bernie is that like they are, it's, it's not really radical. I
Not at
mean, it
all.
is in our context, but when you think about it, it's just like you're just making people believe that good things can happen. And I'm like,
Yeah.
if we can believe that bad things, we've got to the point where we think bad things are inevitable. Like not even that they happen, that they're inevitable. So I'm like, imagine what the inverse would look like if you gave people permission to believe that better can happen again. And that to me is super important. And I think once you get people not thinking like that, nihilism set creeps in, checking out of the system creeps in, violence becomes the obvious answer for certain people. And I'm like, that's not what I want. That's not the world I want to live in. So how do we flip that? And that's why, I don't know, I find myself, and that's before we even get to like some of the cultural things. Like I always joke, Jubilee, creator of Jubilee will not see the pearly gates of heaven, because some of these debates stressing me out, because they did one with the manosphere versus,
Oh
it was
God.
one anti-manosphere versus the manosphere, 20 manosphere people. And I actually wanted to pull clips from that for this week, but I didn't get a chance to finish it. So y'all are spared. But some of
Yeah.
the clips that I saw, I was like, these can't be real people. Like they actually think this. This is, and it makes a lot of sense to the why do we have some of these gender relationships that we have. And I'm like, yo, none of this is healthy. Like, this
No.
is not even like, this is me coming off my, I mean, it all kind of filters and circles around
Everything is
politics.
political. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just like, and we wonder why we're in this scenario. Up is down, down is up, hell is hot, hell is cold. Like, it's just, it makes me really sad because I'm just like, y'all, education, open the schools. You love to say that one. That's one of my favorite. Open the schools. But
Yeah.
now at this point, if PragerU is doing the teaching, keep them closed. Just keep them
Yeah.
closed, because you're not going. You have a better chance flipping a coin.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep. Or Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, who evidently was in charge of McGraw Hill, which were the textbooks that we received growing up. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's all of this stuff is related. But yeah, I was like my therapist Caitlin said to me, I can always create more of myself. I'm creating my own suffering. But I was like, I can also create my own hope. I can also create my own joy. And I was like, I'm tired of creating or adding to collective suffering, my own included. But so it's like we can choose to envision a new world and build a new world. We have to be the ones to do it. We have to be the
Yeah.
ones to create it. And it takes a little bit of everything. It takes public policy, it takes individual actions. So, yeah, and there's an individual action that you can do in order to support us. We cannot exist if you do not support us. It's plain and simple. We cannot exist if you do not support us. And that's why we ask every episode for 177 of them to become a Patreon member. Yeah, 177.
Share with a friend.
Patreon.com. Huh?
I was like, and or share with, if you can't do it now, share with a friend. Like
Yes.
us, thumbs up, because all that stuff helps the reach with the algorithm. We're
Yes.
fighting. I mean, David said a bunch of words that's going to get us
Of course.
prioritized in the algorithm on YouTube's and stuff. So it's like, by you sharing it, clicking a thumbs up, giving a 5-star review, all that stuff actually does help. It's crazy how it helps, but it's crazy that that's what people have to do, because we see the numbers. Y'all are watching and listening. So thank you.
Yes.
We
Yes. I
appreciate
was like,
that. So keep
yes,
it
we
going.
do. And I was like, and we, before the end of the year, are highly likely to reach 10,000 downloads. And I said today, yesterday, when we were talking, I said, I want that to be before October. So really, if you are unable to contribute financially by becoming a Patreon member or sending one-time contributions on Venmo and Cash App at Call Me Limbo Pod, really sharing this episode or any episode with anyone, with a couple people, and then have them share it with a couple people. Like we're trying to build a community here. And that's really what we're trying to do. And so, and I was like, when I went to Shauna, friend of the podcast, friend of Phoebe Award winner, because she's a Patreon member.
That's right. Part of the Limbo Lounge.
Yes, a friend of the Limbo Lounge. Shauna's birthday party last week. Happy birthday to Shauna.
Happy birthday.
And her sister was there. And her sister listens in Texas and was just like asking questions about like me and my nieces. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this, I've never been on this end of the parasocial relationship. And it was
I love
it was really, really lovely. And I was like, at the same time, I also met someone who's a radio DJ here named Manji Reverie, who I listened to. And I was like, we were just talking. And then I said, wait, what'd you say your name was? She said, Manji. I said, I know who you are. And I was like, I know your voice. Like I said, I'm a big fan. And so like, just like a radio personality. And it was so iconic. She goes, I am the radio. And like, I was like, yes, you are the radio. And so I was like trying to think, I was like, well, what am I? Like, what am I? And I think I said to you yesterday, I'm the special occasion. I'm the special occasion. And so I was like, yes. And so I was like, I want more people to be invited into this special occasion. We are the special occasion day.
Yes. Join the Limbo Lounge.
So if you listen, yes. Feel free to share this with a friend. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or the platform where you listen. Get in touch with us at Call Me Limbo Pod on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads, or send us an email at callmelimbopod@gmail.com. I just cleaned out the inbox, so feel free to send us an email if you want.
We'll see it. Oh, I did want to say, comedian extraordinaire, a friend of mine, Jessica Liz, did listen to the podcast and wanted me to tell you and me, of course, and our listeners, not too much on the August Leos. She said, I really appreciated it. She said, but not too much on the August Leos.
That's really funny. Yeah, that's funny. Okay.
Thank you for listening, Jessica.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, but no, it's like, seriously, it was like, we love when we hear from you all. We love when you write in. We love to bring you into the, we're bringing people into the conversation. We really are.
We don't know everything.
No, it's really nice. I really enjoy when my friends text me about the episode and like share thoughts and like make me laugh. And like, it's really fun. So like, we really do want to hear from you. So please, like write in. Go follow us on Instagram or Twitter. We have some, or Twitter, TikTok, or Threads. We have some really funny stuff, and like that's kind of outside the regular show clips. So go follow that. Yeah, go see some of our written work on Substack, our past written work, and you can get emailed the video episodes on Substack. callmelimbopod.substack.com. And I said it earlier, patreon.com/callmelimbopod. There are 3 levels. We're in the summer subscription season. It is still my birthday month, and I would love your financial contributions by becoming a Patreon member. $2.35 a month, $4.69 a month, or $14.95 a month. It helps us cover some of our expenses and grow the show. So thank you. You will get early access to the episodes, full video episodes, shout out on the podcast, full monthly Wandering Thoughts episodes from me that are exclusive only to Patreon.
Yes, they're good.
So paying Patreon members.
And eventually, y'all, I'm going to get set up on I've been slacking. I promise y'all, I'm going to get better because I know what I want to do now. Okay. So I just got to get on it.
The vision is clearer.
The vision is much clearer. And this is going to be it's not political. So you guys will really you want my good thoughts on things like music and stuff. That's all I'll say is you want to be subscribed.
I love this. So yeah, so patreon.com/callmelimbopod, or send one-time contributions on Venmo and Cash App at callmelimbopod if you don't want the ongoing commitment. And today, I was driving through the neighborhood the other day and I saw something and I was like, I am always wondering. It's like I'm always wondering, what's the psychology behind tiny white women driving huge SUVs? Have you ever noticed this?
I've never noticed this.
Look for it. There's a lot.
Now I'm going to see it everywhere tomorrow.
Yeah. It's a lot of little teeny tiny white women who drive really big SUVs. And I was like,
I have to
huh,
check this out.
I wonder why. So yeah,
If
I
you
don't
have,
know.
you don't have to send us the pictures, but if you have experience with this, please share. Because y'all, I don't be
If you're
outside
a
like that.
tiny petite little white woman who drives a huge SUV,
I'm
right
so
in.
intrigued.
Yeah.
I
So
love
yeah.
that. Well, guess what,
Yeah.
y'all? It's been a fun episode. Thank y'all for listening. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being a part of the Limbo Lounge. And remember, when they go low,
We party like we're Lindsay Lohan and Mykonos.
that's right. So
So
call
call
me
me Limbo.
Limbo. Bye.
Bye.